Hey, welcome back to my channel. With Christmas fast approaching, considering it's only 8 days away, I figured I'd review one of my favorite Christmas movies, although it's not the best. It's sloppy, but it's fun. Scrooged, starring Bill Murray. This movie is directed by Richard Donner, who around this time, he's been around for a long time. Up to that point, he'd done The Omen, Superman in the movie, Goonies, Lethal Weapon 1 and 2, and then he went on to direct Lethal Weapon 3 and 4, and other movies. This movie also stars Carol Kane as a Ghost of Christmas Present. You'll see a lot. Robert Mitchum's in there as Bill Murray's boss. You got all the Murray brothers in there. Brian Doyle Murray plays his dad in the movie. His one brother actually plays his brother, and his other brother plays one of his brother's friends. You got Bob Cat Goldthwait in there. And other recognizable faces that you would recognize if you watched a movie. Obviously, this movie's a retelling of Charles Dickens' classic Scrooged, just starring Bill Murray, so you know it's going to be funny. Now, funny enough, doing some research on this movie, Bill Murray and Richard Donner did not get along on this movie. Bill Murray has said that they filmed a long, sloppy movie, and a lot of the stuff that he improvised that he thought was funny got cut out. A lot of the footage they shot was cut out. And he thinks the movie's just okay. He said he thought they could have done better, but it is what it is. Richard Donner, when asked about how it was like working with Bill Murray, he said Bill does a lot of improvisation, and it's like standing on 42nd Street with all the streetlights out and you're a traffic cop. So who knows what happened on the set, but reportedly those two did not get along very well. And it was a rushed production. Bill Murray is quoted as saying it was like shooting a live movie, kind of. That's how fast they were moving. I think what happened was they had Paramount had a release date in mind, and they had to get going. And Richard Donner is known for shooting fast, pretty fast on movies. He's done other movies pretty quick. But you could tell there's a lot that's cut out. It's kind of a sloppy movie, but it's still fun. I think Bill Murray gives a great performance as Frank Cross, although he does a lot of yelling in the movie. But basically, Bill Murray plays Frank Cross. He's a TV network executive for TV, and he's a prick, pretty much. He lets nobody get in his way. He'll step on anybody. Anybody that criticizes him gets fired. He's definitely not a very good human being. And eventually, through his misgivings, he's visited by his old boss who had passed away 8 years prior, just like Charles Dickens' Scrooged. There's so many versions of it. The original movie, then you had the version with Mickey's Christmas Carol, obviously. And you also have there's several other ones. One's from the 70s. There's the original one. The story's been done dozens of times. He's visited by his boss, and he's told that he'll be visited by 3 ghosts. We all know this story. Obviously, with Bill Murray, there's more comedy in this one. It's a little zany, and more, I'd say, even more horror imagery in there, although it's a PG-13 movie. So he's visited by the ghost of Christmas past. It takes him back, shows him his childhood, which his childhood wasn't the greatest. They didn't really celebrate Christmas. As a matter of fact, in the movie, he shows him sitting in front of the TV as a kid, and his dad comes home from work and gives him like 5 pounds of veal for a Christmas present. That's his Christmas present. There's no decorations up. And so his childhood wasn't the greatest. And then they show him later on working when he first gets into the business, and he's just like a mailman, mail boy at the network. Then it shows him meeting his future girlfriend, who eventually he breaks up with, but it shows their relationship building. Karen Allen plays his girlfriend in the movie. And obviously everybody remembers her from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Starman. Then he breaks up with her, and then he becomes Frank Cross, the TV executive, and a big prick to everybody, pretty much. The only person he cares about is himself. And then he's visited by the ghost of Christmas Present, who takes him on a journey visiting his brother's place for Christmas, showing that his brother has friends and he cares about everybody. And his secretary, Grace, who's having some financial problems, she shows him that, and he swears to change, but as soon as he's back to normal, like out of that, he's back to being kind of a dick. And then he's visited by the ghost of Christmas past, which, if you remember from Charles Dickens' classic, basically shows him that he's going to be dead soon, or a little bit in the future he'll be dead, and some other bad things are going to happen because he failed to stop these things from happening. He has the power to stop these things, and he chooses not to. And at the end, they're putting on this live version for the studio on Christmas Eve of Scrooged. And when he comes to the realization that life has more meaning, we all know what happens. He becomes very charitable, and he gives this big speech in front of everybody about how it's not too late to go out and help somebody or call an old friend you haven't talked to in a long time. It's a really good message, and it's a fun movie. Everybody's funny. The ghosts are, the first two ghosts are funny. The last ghost doesn't talk. It's basically the Grim Reaper. Design for the for the costume was basically the Grim Reaper for the Ghost of Christmas Future. Bill Murray's great in it. I mean, obviously, it looks like he's having fun. Now, obviously, reading some quotes from him, he didn't have a good time making the movie with Dick Donner, and Dick Donner vice versa. I mean, Bill Murray's problems on sets is of legend. He can be difficult sometimes, and sometimes you don't even know if he's going to show up to shoot the movie. I found some information out. There's a cool series on Netflix called The Movies That Made Us, and I highly recommend it. There's only 4 episodes, I think, on there, and one's Dirty Dancing, one's Ghostbusters, one's Die Hard, and one's Home Alone. And I watched Dirty Dancing is really not one of my favorite movies, so I didn't watch that one, but the other ones I watched. And the Ghostbusters one, it's funny, they have a little tidbit in there where this is how kind of, Bill Murray's known to be. Just he does dances to his own tune. He doesn't have an agent, nothing. He was in Paris at the time when they got the green light to do Ghostbusters, and Ivan Reitman, the director, said to Dan Aykroyd, "Is Bill in?" Because they were counting on him to play Peter Venkman, and Aykroyd's like, "Yeah, he told me he'll be here. He'll be here." He hadn't signed a contract yet, and knowing how Bill was, because Ivan Reitman worked with him on Stripes and Meatballs, he didn't know if Bill would actually show up, and nobody had heard from him. They tried to get a hold of him, nobody can find him. All of a sudden, the day before they're going to start shooting, he shows up, ready to work. So that's kind of how Bill Murray has been. And funny enough, after Ghostbusters, he hadn't done a movie. He was living in Europe for a little while, and Scrooged was his first movie back in Hollywood, and then he went on to do Ghostbusters 2 the next year. So Bill Murray's always been kind of an odd duck, but always, everybody loves him in his movies. He's so funny. Everybody else does well in the movie. It's well shot. Dick Donner is a good director. It's kind of cut to pieces. You could tell it's a sloppy movie, but it's still a fun movie. I watch it every year. Like I said, I enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. It's not the best Christmas movie. I like Christmas Story more. It's a Wonderful Life more. Christmas Vacation more. But I felt compelled to review it. If I had to give the movie a rating out of 10, I would give it an 8 out of 10. For how sloppy it is and all the misgivings with it, I still really enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it. So yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. If you've never seen it, it's definitely worth checking out. If you're a Bill Murray fan and never seen it, definitely worth checking out. His performance alone makes the movie, and his interaction with the ghosts is so much fun. And the special effects are pretty well done. Even for a rushed movie, it looks great. So yeah, definitely a Christmas classic. Although, you read about it was a troubled production, but still a lot of fun. That's it for me. I think I'm going to review Christmas Vacation coming up before the holiday. But yeah, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.